Hey guys, and welcome back to another one. Now last week I did order 4 of these new Seagate Barracuda hard drives, and in the past I've been using happily the old model Seagate Barracuda. At least in my experience they have proven to be reliable, fast and silent, especially when we are using them in these kind of direct attached storage units like the TerraMaster D2310, which I reviewed a few months ago, and I'll post a link right over here just in case you want to check that out. Now the question is, especially because I was looking for the old model and I couldn't find out only 1 or 2 units, but I needed 4, so I took the plunge and bought the new model. But the question of this particular video is, which one is faster, the old model or the new model? Now if you are curious to know, let's find out. And here we are back to find out which one is faster, and to do that I did run 3 different scenarios, being one of them using a Windows 10 computer and inserting the hard drive directly to the SATA connection. As you can see, the old Seagate Barracuda, we could get roughly 195 megabytes per second on writes and roughly 200 megabytes per second on reads, which is a great performance in my opinion. When I mentioned that I'm used to have reliability, fast speeds and silent operation on these units, this is the kind of speeds that I mentioned, roughly 200 megabytes per second on reads and on writes, which is great in my opinion for a 3.5 spinning hard drive. Now when I did place in the new Seagate Barracuda, as you can see on screen, we got roughly 185 megabytes per second on writes and 185 megabytes per second on reads, which is roughly less 10 megabytes per second on writes and roughly less 15 megabytes per second on reads compared with the old model. So I was a bit surprised to find out, and a bit disappointed to be honest, to find out that the old model is a bit faster than the new model. Now the test did not finish here. I also inserted them inside this TerraMaster D2310 unit, and the first test that I did was using a single disk configuration. And as you guys can see on screen by now, we got on the old Seagate Barracuda roughly 195 megabytes per second on writes and roughly 210 megabytes per second on reads, which is interesting, but it's not the first time that this happens. External storage unit being faster than the SATA connection inside the PC case. And then using the new Barracuda hard drives inside the D2310, we got on the writes 175 megabytes per second, and then on the reads 185 megabytes per second, which is roughly 20 to 30 megabytes per second less in terms of speed comparing with the old Seagate Barracuda. And here I was getting a little bit more disappointed with these units. Now let's go for the final test, and that is RAID 0 configuration on the TerraMaster D2310. And if you look at the screen, we are getting with the old Seagate Barracuda hard drives roughly 375 megabytes per second on writes, which is great, and then roughly 390 to 400 megabytes per second on reads with the old Seagate Barracuda. And these are great speeds. Once again, reminding that these are hard drives and not SSDs. But in this RAID 0 configuration, this is what I'm used to have with the old Seagate Barracuda hard drives. Now, when I do place the new ones inside, and I did test out with different configurations using these 4, so I could make sure that it was not any of these faults. So I could get here roughly 350 megabytes per second on writes and roughly 350 megabytes per second on reads. So we are definitely, guys, watching a difference between the old and the new generation. Now I'm sure that the new Seagate Barracuda have new technology, they have better power efficiency, for sure. I do believe all that, but in terms of speeds I was expecting to have at least the same that the last generation has, which is the Seagate Barracuda on single configuration reaching roughly 200 megabytes per second, and then on a RAID 0 configuration reaching roughly 400 megabytes per second, which is double that. And in my particular case, I will not be I will have no issue at all because I'll be using the old model as a RAID 0 configuration, then one set as RAID 1 and one set as single disk configuration. So for me personally will be okay. And that is it, guys. Hopefully this video will be helpful in some way, especially for those of you that are in the market for a unit. In my particular case, if I could find a few of these last generation I would get, I couldn't. I was only able to get 1 or 2, but I needed 4, and I wanted 4 with the same brand and the same model. So this was my purchase. Once again, hope this video is helpful in some way, and if it is, don't forget that usual thumbs up. My name is Roberto George, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.
Messi imballaggio a prova di bomba. So che è chiuso, non c'è bisogno, poi lo apro dopo.